what you found is a relatively affordable way 6 years ago to reach your audience out there, where we had an iPad, we had what I call a room, is kind of the way they think of it now, where you turned on the room, they could watch the room, they signed up for the class, and then they could watch it and be able to reach, you were able to reach people, which would have been extremely expensive 6 years ago to have done this. So you found a vendor that would offer it and work with you. And we set up a little iPad on it, and then we're able to interact with them. And I really enjoyed it because we've gone to Ocracoke, and I remember the first time, and I showed up, and all these people were excited because they had watched me for a few years, and I hadn't met them yet. And it was very exciting to see the enthusiasm of getting the education that they really wouldn't have as accessible, because it takes so much to bring us over there. So you have to budget that very carefully, but they were able to get courses, and they were able to, it was like they were quoting things from my classes a few years before. So I saw firsthand how this served them. Then we came up with the idea, okay, you called the vendor and said, now that we have standards, these are our compliance needs, because it really hadn't been fully defined. And they said, we can't offer those. And that's when I was excited, where we teamed up together, where I've researched the hardware and said, Lentz, if we do this, I want to make this so other small business centers with low bandwidth, low tight budgets, and everything else would be able to implement it, because it's easy if you have a big budget. But how do we make this as affordable, where we can get it affordable in the hardware, affordable in the software end of it, and then working on what I call recipe to execute as well. And we've tested it, and it involves a camera, an extension cable, a tripod, and a Zoom subscription at the level of webinars, so that you create the accountability. And that's what's exciting. And now we've had multiple runs. I've also gotten to test it at Wake Tech. And I do want to talk about, there are two versions of this. There's one where if your instructor's a little more tech savvy, they can do a screen share of higher resolution, and then the camera captures the instructor. So we have the camera on the instructor. And which I'm very comfortable with all the technology. Then we have a second option where if they're not as comfortable with the technology, where we have the camera on the instructor and the screen, where you can just go in, set it up, and then you can go back and check it in your office. That's similar to what we had before, so you can go either way. Now, it's not quite as sharp a focus, but we've now, with your latest test, proven they can see it, they can read what's on the screen. And of course, with me, I provide the slide deck for them, and other instructors provide handouts or something to support it. So that's what's exciting. We've now got down the cost, and now I've tested it in a room that's Wake Tech has very large rooms with dual screens, and I've even tested it with multiple microphones. It was such a big room, it created kind of an echo effect. And I was able to then get a secondary mic to even work. So if they had a little more bandwidth, we now have the technology to do it. And that's what's exciting to me.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, we're moving from that prior vendor to this new technology. Of course, we've been beta testing it really, and like you said, a recipe or SOPs or whatever you want to call it. And so we're making sure that we can execute. And really, the cool thing is we've been able to say, hey, all right, here's when we're going to do our first streaming class, which is going to be in the fall, and it'll be one of our core classes. And so that'll be, I think it's August 5th, but so we're right around there. So we've got time, and the folks so far that I've worked with regard to Zoom have been good. I actually haven't signed the dotted line, so to speak. So they're actually letting me kind of play in the sandbox a little bit right now. So I thought that was pretty customer or user friendly on their part. And but it looks like we're going to go forward. Well, pretty certain we're going to go forward with everything, because it's been a good test. So all the tests have been passed, I guess, is another way of putting it. For instance, yesterday, we were really kind of looking at the quality, and so the quality is it's improved to me, and honestly, the subscription is better than in terms of the price is better with regard to my previous vendor. But that's where we are, and I'm excited about it. And the hardware you mentioned, again, not very cost prohibitive at all. Limited resources, or more rural community college
Right.
resources, and we're just trying to have as much impact as we can with the resources that we have, and this is going to do it.